Think for a moment that you slip, fall, and hear that awful crack. For a second, everything freezes. Your brain can't even process what just happened. But right under your skin, a whole emergency system kicks in. Your blood rushes to the area. Cells start repairing the damage, and your body basically goes into rescue mode. So what actually happens inside your body the moment a bone breaks? And how does it heal itself back together again? In this videocast, we're going to break it down, pun intended, in the simplest, most fascinating way possible.
Today we're looking at something quite remarkable, a process that might be happening inside you right now, or maybe it happened years ago. We're going beyond just the pain and the cast. We're diving deep into how a broken bone actually heals itself. It's pretty amazing bioengineering.
It really is.
Most people think fracture. They think, okay, inconvenience, maybe some pain. But inside, your body's running this incredibly smart construction site, almost like clockwork. So our mission today is to unpack that. Look at the science, the sort of hidden intelligence behind how your body fixes a break. It's this perfectly timed four-stage plan.
It's a fantastic example of resilience, isn't it? And understanding those stages, well, it really shows you just how complex our skeletons are. We're going to trace that whole journey step by step, right from the moment it happens, the break, all the way through potentially years of remodeling until it's, well, pretty much like new.
Okay, let's start right there. At ground zero, the moment of impact. A bone gives way because the force is just too much for it. Could be a tiny crack, could be snapped right through. But the second that happens, the biology kicks in almost instantly. Stage one begins, and it sounds like it's quite messy. So that break, it's not just the hard part of the bone, is it? It's tearing through all the soft stuff inside and around it, too, like blood vessels.
Exactly. Bones are packed with tiny blood vessels. They're highly vascularized. So when a bone breaks, those vessels tear and blood immediately starts leaking out. It pools around the fracture site, clots up, and forms what we call a hematoma. Think of it as the body's first emergency bandage.
Right, the hematoma, you said it's like a bandage, but that's also when you get that intense pain, right?
Yeah.
And the swelling, the redness, what's happening there?
Ah, yes. The pain and swelling, that's the inflammation kicking off. That hematoma, that clot, it does more than just plug the leak. It sends out chemical signals. It's like dialing 911 internally. These signals trigger the whole immune response. Fluid rushes in, that's the swelling, which kind of immobilizes the area and gets it ready for cleanup.
Oh, okay. So the swelling isn't just random. It's actually part of the plan.
Yeah.
A signal and protection.
Absolutely. And within hours, specialized cells, immune cells, they rush in. This is the main part of the inflammatory stage, usually lasting a few days. Their job is crucial. Clear out damaged bone fragments, dead cells, all the debris. Basically, they're sanitizing the site before rebuilding can start.
I like that analogy you used before, like a burst pipe in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
First, shut off the water, that's the hematoma stopping the bleeding. Then someone has to rip out the soggy drywall, clear the mess. That's the cleanup crew. You have to clear the way before you can fix anything.
Precisely. If that cleanup is efficient, then the body can start bringing in the building materials, and we move fairly quickly into stage two.
Okay, so the site's prepped, the emergency response is done. Now the real challenge, bridging that gap between the broken bone ends. You can't just instantly make hard bone appear, can you?
No, you need something more flexible first. The body uses these really versatile cells, mesenchymal stem cells or MSCs. They hang out in the nearby tissues and bone marrow. Think of them like blank slates. They can become different cell types. Here, they mostly turn into chondroblasts.
Chondroblasts.
Yeah.
Those make cartilage, right?
Exactly. They start laying down this flexible cartilage-like stuff called a soft callus. It fills the gap.
So a temporary bridge made of cartilage, not bone. Why start with that?
Well, cartilage is quick to make and it's flexible. It's like a rabid patch. The soft callus fills the space, provides some initial stability, kind of pulls the ends slightly together. But critically, it can't bear any real weight. It's weak. This forms within maybe a couple of weeks, but it's just a temporary measure.
Got it. So it's like loosely wiring two bits of wood together. Functional, but flimsy. How does it get stronger? How do we get to the load-bearing part?
Right, that's the next step. Ossification. Minerals, mainly calcium, start getting deposited into that soft cartilage framework. This gradually turns the soft callus into a hard callus. It's a kind of early primitive bone. This usually takes, about 3 to 4 weeks after the injury. Doctors often call this point clinical union. The bone feels stable, maybe the cast comes off, but, and this is important, this hard callus is still pretty rough and disorganized. It's nowhere near as strong as your original bone.
Wow. So that transition from soft, flexible stuff to hard, mineralized structure is the key structural leap. It really shows how the body sequences things, doesn't it? Knowing when to switch gears.
Yeah, once that hard callus is there, things are mechanically stable enough for some basic function, but structurally, it's a bit of a mess. Imagine you patched a hole in the wall with quick-set cement. It fills the hole, sure, but it's lumpy, uneven. It doesn't match the smooth finish of the original wall. The hard callus is like that.
Okay, but why tear down something it just spent weeks building? Wouldn't it be easier to just reinforce that hard callus?
Because that hard callus is made of what we call woven bone. It's laid down really fast, kind of randomly. It stabilizes, yes, but it lacks the proper architecture for long-term strength. Mature bone, the strong stuff, called lamellar bone, has this highly organized, parallel structure. To get that precision, you need the specialists.
Ah, the remodeling crew.
Exactly. This is where the famous duo comes in. Osteoclasts and osteoblasts. Osteoclasts are the demolition team. They systematically break down and remove that rough, disorganized woven bone from the callus. And right behind them come the osteoblasts, the builders. They lay down fresh, perfectly organized lamellar bone, gradually reshaping the bone back towards its original form.
You know, what's really fascinating here, something people often miss, is that bone is unique. It's the only tissue that heals with identical tissue. Like if you damage heart muscle, it heals with scar tissue, right?
Yeah.
But bone heals with bone. Eventually, the evidence of the break can completely disappear.
That's a key point. And this final sculpting, this remodeling, it isn't random either. It's guided by the actual physical stress the bone experiences. There's a principle called Wolff's Law. Basically, bone adapts to the loads placed upon it. As you start carefully using the limb again walking, maybe lifting things, those mechanical forces tell the osteoclasts and osteoblasts precisely where to remove bone, where to add more density, and how to align the new structure for maximum strength.
That really underlines why this stage takes so long. Remodeling isn't quick. We're talking months, maybe 6 months for decent functional recovery, but sometimes years for the bone to get back to its original perfect shape and internal structure. It's like the body is using your daily activity as the final architectural blueprint.
So knowing those 4 precise stages is one thing, but as you know, it doesn't always go perfectly smoothly or at the same speed for everyone. Which brings us to the practical side. What actually influences how long this incredible biological construction project takes?
Right. When you look at the data, it seems to boil down to 2 main things: having the right fuel and having good logistics. Let's talk logistics first. If the body's trying to send repair crews, the cells, and building materials, calcium protein to the fracture site, what's the biggest thing that slows down that delivery?
Yeah, good question. It's blood flow. Good circulation is absolutely fundamental. It's the highway that delivers everything needed: oxygen, nutrients, the cells themselves. So anything that restricts blood flow really throws a wrench in the works. This is why factors like, well, older age, where circulation might naturally be a bit less efficient, or certain chronic diseases can slow things down.
Like diabetes.
Diabetes is a big one, yes. It can damage small blood vessels, impairing that crucial delivery system.
And the sources often highlight a major lifestyle factor here: smoking. How badly does smoking interfere with bone healing?
Oh, significantly. Nicotine is a vasoconstrictor. That means it literally narrows your blood vessels, cutting down blood flow to the injury. Plus, it seems to directly interfere with the function of the osteoblasts, those bone-building cells we mentioned. So they don't work as well, and they're not getting the supplies they need. It can really stall the whole callus formation process.
That makes total sense. You can't build if the supply trucks are stuck in traffic or the workers aren't performing well. Okay, let's switch to fuel. What building materials does the body absolutely need?
The essentials are pretty clear. You need enough protein that forms the basic scaffold, the collagen matrix. You absolutely need calcium, that's the mineral that gives bone its hardness. And crucially, vitamin D. Vitamin D is essential because it helps your body actually absorb and use the calcium you consume. So a good diet isn't just helpful, it's pretty much required for efficient healing.
Now, let's touch on that interesting paradox we mentioned: rest versus movement. Early on, stages 1 and 2, stability is key, casts, braces, keeping things still. But then in stage 3, we talked about Wolff's Law, the bone needing stress to remodel properly. How does the body, or how should we, balance those completely opposite needs?
It's all about timing and control. In those first few weeks, instability is the enemy. If the broken ends move around too much, that soft callus can keep tearing. The body might just keep laying down more cartilage or even fibrous tissue instead of making proper bone. That can lead to what's called a non-union, where the bone fails to heal together. So early stability is paramount for that initial bridge to form.
Okay, so lock it down first.
Right. But then, once that bridge, the hard callus, is reasonably strong, then prolonged lack of movement becomes the problem. Without some gentle, controlled stress, the bone doesn't get those vital signals from Wolff's Law to remodel properly. It won't efficiently replace the weak woven bone with strong lamellar bone. That's why physical therapy becomes so important later on. Controlled movement, gradual weight bearing. It's essential not just for regaining mobility, but for telling the bone how to rebuild itself to be strong and functional long term.
What an incredible journey, really. When you see someone with a broken arm or leg, you're actually witnessing this whole emergency response morphing into a long-term reconstruction project. I guess the big takeaway is that the body acts like both firefighter and builder simultaneously. It rushes in to control the damage and clean up, then immediately starts building first a quick flexible patch, then a solid bridge, and finally this detailed remodeling based on how you use it.
Yeah, the truly amazing part is that internal intelligence. The construction site knows exactly when to switch from cartilage to bone, and then how to use physical force as the final blueprint for optimal strength. It's quite elegant.
And even with all we understand now, it still leaves some really deep questions, doesn't it? Things researchers are still digging into, like if the process is so well defined, why do some people heal so much faster than others, seemingly defying the typical timelines? And why does getting older slow it down so much, even if someone is otherwise healthy?
Exactly.
And maybe the most intriguing one, we know controlled stress is needed for that final remodeling, but how much is just right? How much movement helps speed things up without risking breaking that still healing bone? These are the questions still being explored about our own internal architecture.
Now you know. A broken bone isn't just a painful moment. It's a full-on biological mission. From the first drop of blood to the final stage of bone rebuilding, your body works like an incredible repair factory. So next time you see a cast or hear someone say, "I broke my arm," remember, their body's already hard at work fixing the damage. I'm really glad you joined me in this videocast. And hey, if you enjoy learning how the human body handles these wild challenges, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the next one.